Welcome back. We're on the couch with Akila Riley Richardson, and we're talking about couples and how couples deal with emotions. And on our last segment, we were talking about how easy it is for us to get caught up into a cycle where I get upset, you get upset, and now we pursue each other, attacking each other verbally. But we're not talking about what's at the root of what's going on. We're not talking about what's our primary emotion, and we're not getting vulnerable. We're not putting ourselves there and taking the risk. So in this segment, we want to talk about what should we do next.
You know, when I think about when things are getting really toxic in a relationship and when we're fighting all the time, we need to cease fire. C-E.A.S.E. C, identify the cycle.
So let's talk about the cycle.
Yes. So there are different cycles we mentioned before. You can have a pursuer and withdrawer. One person who's going after the other person. Another person says, okay, I'm going to keep avoiding you because it's just too difficult to be around you. Yeah. We also have like withdraw. Sometimes we both comfortably just disengage.
Give each other the silent treatment. I am just not going to talk to you. So you are here. You were supposed to come last night. You didn't come. And now you show up in my life as though you didn't break a promise. You don't talk about it, I don't talk about it.
Yeah. So we just kind of disengage totally. Very unhealthy. So we want to identify, and those are just two of the cycles. There are many others, but the first thing is C, identifying the cycle. E, emotions. What are the emotions that are really underlying here?
And these are the primary emotions. So in that situation, it is, you told me you were going to come and you didn't show up. This might trigger for me times in the past that people said to me, I will come and show up for you, and they don't show up. So I'm really angry about what you did, but beneath all of that, I'm being re-triggered from how maybe in my parental family, people didn't show up for me. My friends don't show up for me. So what I'm reacting to is you, plus a whole set of other stuff that you don't even know about.
And that creates sadness and fear. And I'm glad you mentioned about things from the past, because that takes me into E. Attachment. So with regard to attachment, we look at the attachment injury in the relationship, but we also look at the person's attachment needs and the way in which issues in my past, unfulfilled attachment needs have featured my relationship now.
So let's talk about what attachment is. Attachment is a word that we use in our field often, and we're really clear about what it means. But when we talk about attachment, we're talking about how you form relationships. And we all have the need to form relationships, all of us. But throughout our lives, we've gotten very clear messages about how relationships are formed and how they're broken. So attachment needs are those fundamental things that we need to connect with each other.
Most definitely. And if I connect with you, then I need to feel safe. That takes me to S, feeling safe in the relationship. When I expose my primary emotions, I talk about my core attachment needs, then what do you do with it? How do you convey safety? And in order to convey safety, one of the things you have to do is to convey empathy, right? Put yourself in the person's shoes and let the person know you are heard, and you're heard and you're understood.
Can we go back to S for a little bit, safety? Because I think this has a lot to do with our vulnerability as well. So I put myself out there and I say to you, listen, when you did not show up, this is what happened. I've now taken that risk. I've been vulnerable. An unsafe condition is when somebody says, but you get over that yet? And you know others always come home? So you have just trivialized this person taking this risk, and therefore that space is not safe. And the next time that something like that happens, that person is less likely to choose the path of vulnerability. What they will do is probably choose the path of pursuer or withdrawer. Or
both.
Now, your partner who has said to you, but you know, as always come, may not be his intention or her intention to injure you. To that person, it might be a matter of fact, because their ways of connecting with people, they grew up or they've come into a place where they are very frank with what's going on. But it still hurts and now makes the space not safe.
Yep, most definitely. And going back to E, once I communicate to you that something has happened to me, I want you to tell me that you understand. I want to know that you care. And of course, different relationships have different methods of communicating empathy. Everybody's different. Everybody's style is different. Whatever works in that relationship, that person must feel heard and understood. And I know sometimes couples get trapped in this process, and sometimes you need somebody alongside to witness you know, to help to validate, to help to differentiate the emotions, to create metaphors, to ease the path to resolution.
Somebody who's not in the cycle. And that's where the therapist and our work becomes really important, because we're not in it. So we can stand from outside and say, this is your cycle.
We can step outside and say, cease.
Cease fire.
Cease fire.
I want to touch on something that you just said too. We talked about understanding. Now, sometimes I can't understand because it doesn't make sense to me. So when we say understand, we're not asking couples to lie and pretend that this makes sense if it doesn't make sense to you, but to understand that this is hurtful for me. To accept that it is hurtful because you said it is hurtful, and you're not going to lie to me. If it hurts you, tell me it hurts me. So if you can't understand why it's hurtful, that's okay, but to understand that it's hurting the other person and they need safety.
Sometimes it's difficult to connect with why you're hurt, but it's easy to connect with the expression of hurt, the experience of hurt, I should say. So you know what it feels to feel invalidated. You know what it feels to be hurt. You know what it feels to be afraid. Can you connect with that? And then react from that, respond from that place.
So we are encouraging couples to cease fire, to really look after yourself and break these unhealthy, unproductive cycles of conflict and chaos that happens in our relationships. Thank you so much, Fakila. It's always fantastic when we sit on this couch. And thank you so much for joining us today. Take care.